So today we're going to do a rotoscope tutorial. Here's our finished product. And you can see with rotoscoping you can remove the background and make it so that you can have multiple people in one shot even though they're shot separately. So we open After Effects, go to File, Import, File, select the footage we want in the front, and then we also select the footage we want in the back. Press Open. Now bring the upfront to a new comp, and then we want to double click on it, and then click on the top. We want to click on Rotor Brush tool. Now all you have to do is outline whatever you want to be visible. So here I'm going to outline this man. And you don't want it to be that detailed because you'll see in a second. It does a pretty good job at finding the outline. So if you scroll in, you can just zoom in there. And you hold the Command key and move your mouse if you want to adjust the size. And then you just hold Alt if you want to subtract something. And if you want to add it, you just kind of click it. Works fine that way. So just holding Alt and dragging around, and it'll take out what you don't want. And if it takes out too much, you just drag over it again. So this can be some pretty tedious work here. You just got to have patience, and this is actually the easier way. It's kind of an automatic rotor brush tool in CS5. If you have CS4, you're kind of going to use a pen tool similar to Illustrator or Photoshop. So there you go, we did the outline. And if you just look below the footage, you'll notice there's a bar that you can drag further to allow the rotoscope to be rendered more. And here, if you just press the space bar, it'll go through each frame and pre-render it for you. And it's going to try and guess where the outline moves. Now this works pretty good because of the HD footage that we have. So if you're using a more low quality footage, it's going to be a little hard for the program to detect the edges. Now we're going to discover here that you can see on the top left of my head, the edge detection isn't doing too well. It's getting caught in the trees. So we're going to move back, and you can notice there, just got to zoom in and delete that section because later it becomes a bigger problem. You can see there. So you go back, hold Alt, and then just play it through again. And if we see a bigger issue, we just adjust it as is. Here I'm just going to speed it up. It's a little tedious work. There, so that's a pretty good job. So now you have to go to the right hand side and you see there's a freeze button. This is going to freeze all our frames. If you don't press this button, you're basically just lost all your work. So you gotta make sure that you get through this process. This might take a little while. So once that's all done, you go back to your composition, and you can notice when you scrub through it that the background is completely removed. So now I'm going to show you some effects on the effects panel that we can adjust our rotor brush. So you can see there's a smooth tool, and that kind of just smooths out the edges. And then the feather, which tailors the edges so that you can show a little more, hide a little bit. And then the last part is the choke. The choke just kind of shows how much you're going to take away from the image. So you can see if we raise it up and if we lower it down, we show more of the background. There. It's just about right. And now if you go back to the project panel, you can drag your background into a new composition and then go to our upfront composition and bring it just above the background. And you can see the background just fits perfectly in the composition. So you can see there we have a guy running in the background. We want to make it so that we can use that footage and put it on the other side. That way we don't have to reshoot this several times. All you have to do is open that video in a new composition, grab the rotoscoping tool, double click on the project, and just find the moment where it just pops out. And then I'm going to kind of speed this process up. See, with him it takes a little bit more time because all the snow and the artifacts, it's a little more jittery, but not too bad. There. So we just want to drag him just below our front and right click on that, go to transform and say flip horizontally because we want on the other side of the picture. And as you can see here, he kind of just appears in that open area. So we want him to be pushed over to the right and that he kind of comes onto the screen from the edge. So that involves selecting that layer and pressing the P key on the keyboard. It'll bring out the position properties. And if we just drag the x-axis over, if I scroll through, you'll now see that he's more visible near the end and he pops onto the screen from the side. There. That looks really good. And now you have two separate people on the video using just one footage. Now after a while, when you add more shots to your timeline, it's going to look like this. You have about 20 to 30, and you can, if I press the eye tool on the left hand side, you can kind of reveal which ones are which. And all these different layers, and it looks like it's one shot, but it's actually taken several times. So this is where you can create a large army, for instance, just using only a few of your friends. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's a tutorial for rotoscoping and mass population.
Pacific, the physical border of Austria and Hungary.